Introduction. Just look around and find at least something good. All you need will come to you. I'll never end your stare.
Welcome back to Two Canadians at Kafe Lise, a Vigor podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Dr. Anton, and with me is our other host,
DJ Spencer.
All right. It's our 17th episode, and we're doing something new, like we like to do, shake things up a little bit. We're actually going to be talking to one of the Vigor partners today, and we're also we'll go a little in depth on their background, and then afterwards we will probably also talk about the new 8.1 update a little bit. We already did the preview last episode, but we figure this time around, let's now that we've actually been playing it a little bit since it came out, some of our thoughts on it, and get everyone, all three of us talking about the 8.1 update. So that'd be fun. But we'll just get right into it and welcome with us Cristiferbeast. Welcome, Christopher.
I'm happy to be here.
Now, do you want us to call you Christopher, or I don't know what you go by normally?
Christopher, Chris.
Both
work.
Excellent.
Christopher,
I just know you by your handle, so Cristiferbeast, since I'm not going to be calling you Cristiferbeast the whole time. So
yeah, perfectly fair.
Yeah. But welcome.
Christmas.
Yeah. So it's exciting having you on the podcast. It's a nice change of pace for us, and I don't know have you done much of this type of thing before?
No, I've never done anything of this type before. Yeah.
Oh well, thanks for coming on us on our podcast first.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah.
And it's like, honestly, like, I was excited. So Cristiferbeast, a couple episodes ago, to anyone listening, a couple episodes ago, we kind of mentioned, if there was any ideas or suggestions for the podcast for like new future episodes and stuff like that. Cristiferbeast actually reached out and said, hey, like, if you ever thought about having a partner on, like, I'd be more than happy to join us. And Chris, like, you mentioned that you've been listening to the podcast and, you've enjoyed it. And, like, honestly, like, I don't think there's anything like it for Vigor. So I think it kind of brings something new to the table. But I'm super excited that you're willing to join us. And, like, we've had other partners too also kind of reach out and say, like, hey, like, I'd be willing to do it. So, like, this is probably like the first of many, maybe.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
And if you're watching and you enjoy this, let us know for sure, because we would absolutely try to get more partners on. Maybe even at some point dev team, but you never know. That's like a that might be an apple we can't reach yet. We're not that big yet, but who knows, in the future anything can happen. For sure. Anything can happen. Yeah. Why don't you, if people are watching and they're not familiar with your channel and your, I know you work a lot in the YouTube space. So why don't you tell us about, give us a bit of an intro and tell us a little bit about that.
All right. So I'm Chris, as has already been established. I do a lot of different things on my YouTube channel. I also do a bit of streaming, but my streams are a bit insane. But on YouTube, I try to make a lot of analytical content, talking about what makes the game tick, talking about gun balancing, how maps work, really how things like the Vigor's economy works, and really trying to put words behind and thought processes and experiments and data behind opinions, and what a lot of people feel strongly about XYZ. I try to give them theories, ideas, and factualities that kind of help them fuel their opinions, whether their opinions agree or disagree with me.
Right.
It's up to them. But that's kind of my main focus, to try and really just delve deeper into beneath the surface and try to make content that I wouldn't really use the word educate, because it's not really educational in my book, at least, but kind of on that vein, if that makes any incoherent sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it does, and I would say educational for sure because I've seen your videos too, and you're answering questions, right? Whenever you're answering questions, it's what's the point of answering a question if it's not to educate? So, yeah, I would definitely say you're in the educational space when it comes to your videos, which is great, and entertainment as well.
Yeah.
That's what drives a lot of the clicks. So,
I make a occasional meme edits.
yeah.
Mine are a little bit something might be wrong with them.
You saying what something might be wrong with the memes, or something might be wrong with the person making the memes? What are you saying?
Both.
Okay.
I'm not
Excellent.
really sure what other partners have Arnold Schwarzenegger with Alex Sweet Tsunami's head on it. I'm not really sure if any other partner has done that, or has made Pekka into a blushing anime character. Again, might be something wrong with both.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. Cool. Did you have any questions? Let's move it over to DJ here. If you had a question,
Like,
go back and forth. I
I
guess
don't
a
know.
bit on these questions.
Yeah. Like, so you have like a ton of subscribers on YouTube. Like, how long did it take you to build your channel? Because it's not just Vigor, right? Like, you have a ton of games that you play, like Destiny, like a bunch of um, like war games, like Battlefield and like Verdun and like I don't know, I can't name them all.
Tannenberg, Grounded, Battlefield 1943 is the big one I'm big on right now. For me, YouTube so I started YouTube as a very young chap because I wanted to be a Let's Play YouTuber. Because when I was young, that was popular. And the thing about Let's Play YouTubers is they're not practical.
What type
anymore.
YouTuber? What's that?
A Let's Play. Someone that would, take a game like Final Fantasy or
Oh,
Minecraft,
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
complete playthrough of it.
Gotcha.
And that's what I wanted to be. I did that for 2 years and got 60 subs. So that was a great endeavor. That worked perfectly. And from there, I eventually found Fallout 76, and I made a Let's Play of Fallout 76, and that didn't do too well either. And then I found Vigor, and really, it's been a long grind. It's been a long grind, and the advice I try to give to everyone who wants to enter YouTube streaming, all of it, is just don't give up. Like, be yourself and just keep going. Because at the end of the day, it's a grind, right? Not to use typical stereotypical inspirational streamer quotes, but it is a grind. You've got to put the work in, and just because Jimmy down the street, the algorithm picked him up and he's got 35 billion views, that's not your situation. Don't look at other people. Focus on yourself. Focus on self-betterment, and eventually the grind will pay off.
Yeah,
I think right now it's paying off for me. And yeah,
nice.
Yeah, I've said it before to like a lot of people, like in chat, like on Twitch and stuff like that, and it's like, and like in regular like conversations, like one thing I really love about Vigor is the grind, but like the Twitch grind or the streaming grind, that is way bigger than Vigor or any other game, right? So the way you worded it, it's like perfect.
It's definitely something that you just have to believe in what you're doing. Again, not to become inspirational speaker number 33, but it's not something where Jimmy down the street's like, hey, I want to be someone I'm not, be something I'm not. It's just be yourself, keep being yourself, and keep going, and it'll eventually pull through. That's at least my firm belief, because that's what I did.
Yeah. Well, it's like the owl adage, right? When you're trying to, whether it's learning a skill or whatever, it's putting the time into it. So it's the more time you put into it, the better chance you'll have at succeeding at it, right? So like 200, I can't remember, and I'm sure this may have been disproven somewhere, but there was like the whole thing was like spend 200 hours doing something, and then you'll become maybe not a master at it, but a proficient at it, right? Like really good at it.
Yeah.
So just then the more hours, like 1,000 hours or 10,000 hours to become like a master at something, and yeah, so it's not about it's about pushing through and not giving up. And even though it might seem like it's an endeavor that's just not going anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
And another part of that is being, I don't know, maybe this is personal, but it's more so you got to understand the people around you in the community. Like when I joined the community, I was surrounded by people who were very nice, very welcoming, very helpful. And by becoming friends with them, they helped me, and now I'm trying to help them as much as I can. And it's by doing stuff like that will keep you growing, that will keep pushing you further. I mean, if you're like a 60 sub YouTuber and you meet up with Brian Evans is a great guy. He's gonna welcome you onto a collab. Doesn't matter how many subs you have.
Yeah.
And that, but if you're a mean person, you're mean spirit, or you show up in his chat going, "I need collab today," and all I want is collab. He ain't gonna do it. He's a busy man.
Right.
And by being nice, and don't be nice for your personal benefit, because that's everyone can see through that. Everyone can see through that. We all know, when you see a guy doing that, you're like, nah. But by being yourself and being nice to people, it pays off. Not to sound like a corny old, not to sound like a corny old person.
Yeah. No, it's true. It is true. Yeah, it's as some people say, it's nice to be nice, for sure.
Yeah, it is nice to be nice.
And then, as I think as part of this whole YouTube stuff, there's one question here that DJ had wrote out. And I'm just going to steal it and run with it. Was there a video in particular that you made that you're really proud of it, or surprised you at how well it's done?
So surprised how well you're done. Yeah, I have a video on my channel called Home Base. It's actually my #1 video right now.
Okay.
See, I made that video when I had no editing software, and I used voice memos to record the audio. So it is a mess, and it should not be my #1 video, but it is. In fact, it's my worst theory I've ever crafted, in that it's a good in ideology and really where it's coming from, but it's not well articulated at all, and there's no editing visually either. I literally just plugged in a mic and just ran with it. So that's a video that I'm surprised has done well. I mean, its like-dislike ratio is not too pretty right now, which it shouldn't be. It really shouldn't be. But videos I'm proud of, that's a hard question for me, because when I make a video, I kind of move on from it immediately. I just made a video talking about my first impressions of 8.1.
Right. And
before that, I made a video talking about, like a little bit ago, I made a video talking about the issue with TK and EWIM. And I'm going to say, a good 72 hours on that video, gathering data, editing, scripting. It was a lot of work across a bunch of days.
Right.
But have I thought about that video at all before the sentence? No.
Okay.
Because to me, and maybe this is unique to me in that I'm a little bit strange. When a video is done, it's done. It's not like I can turn back the clocks of time, throw it back in the editor, edit it back up. And if I spend 72 hours of editing, if I spend 5 minutes of editing, if I spend 15 minutes of editing, it's a video, and it's out on my channel, and how it does is how it does. There's no real pride behind me in it. I mean, I like my own content. I'm not someone that's like, oh, my content's bad. No, it's more so I don't hold any particular, I don't hold any particular feelings towards a specific project. Because
you sort of release it into the wild, and then it is what it is, right?
Yeah. It is what it is. If it's free. Received horribly, it's received horribly.
Yeah.
It's kind of like us with the podcast episodes, because like we talk about it like quite often after the fact, because like sometimes after the podcast we'll play like duos or whatever, and then we're like, oh, forgot to talk about so and so, right?
Yeah.
Or even
we should have mentioned
after
this.
Like, yeah, exactly. And then after the 8.1 video, where we had a disagreement about legacy seasons and how it worked. I'm like, I found out I was wrong, and I'm like, oh no, because I thought I didn't think they were going to be concurrent, right? Like I swear to God, I had heard from like a stream or something like that or a video that it was finish the current battle pass or work on the current battle pass or work on the legacy season, and it was one or the other, but it's concurrent, right? And so like I said what I thought it was, and it's like I just posted a comment on the video saying like, oh sorry, I was wrong, like this is what it is, right? So it's like
Yeah.
it's not like I'm going to edit or go into the video, edit it, and then like put it back out.
The biggest thing on top of all of that, especially with like YouTube, I'm not entirely sure how editing a podcast post haste would work. But I know on YouTube, it's like not possible. You can't really boot up, like you can't like substitute a file. Like that's not possible on YouTube.
No.
So, yeah.
No.
So like if I were to pull a video, like one of my videos in particular right now that I'm not the happiest about, I made a video reviewing the economy regarding safes. Pretty old video.
Right.
I want to say that's the one I was thinking about because I was thinking about it today.
Okay.
And a part of me wants I'm going to revisit the topic pretty soon. And a part of me wanted to just pull my old video and see what I did with it, but at the same time, like I can't substitute out that video. That video is that video. If someone is in the comment section of that video and says, "Hey Chris, you're pretty stupid," I'm gonna probably go, "Yeah, I agree with you," and then move on with my day. Like it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. I was pretty dumb. This video was undercooked.
Yeah.
I was trying to hit the daily.
Yeah. And with podcasts, it's kind of the same thing because we release this one on YouTube, but then we also release this the audio audio only version that could be picked up, by podcast players, and it's just sort of the same thing. You release it out there into an RSS feed, and it gets picked up by all the aggregators and sent out. So it's not like you could just we want to edit this one and change it around because I think what would probably I don't know actually know what would happen. It'd probably like re-push it to everybody or something, and I don't know if it would screw up the order or what. So don't think about that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And you kind of touched base on this too as you were talking. You mentioned, if it took you 72 hours, like, so are all your videos sort of, how long do they usually take for you to plan and to make?
Okay, so this is part of the issue with daily uploads. So I daily upload.
Yeah.
The thing is, none of my videos normally take a day to edit. And that's because a lot of them are very stat heavy. So I in my eyes, I categorize my video in three different categories. I have what's called a spam upload video that's out. It's not the highest quality, but it's fun. I try to keep them interesting. And that's if I'm unable to finish a previous project. I have meme edits. Those come out once a month because I feel like if I do too many of them, I will probably be put on a watch list somewhere. And then there's my analytical videos that are like big projects. An analytical video can take anywhere, if we're including research, the stats, the processing the stats and making sure they're right. You got to fact check the stats using contradictory stats, and you got to. Sometimes I message a dev and I'm like, "Hey, does this look in the right ballpark?" Because I don't want to release this and then you guys yell at me and I yell at you guys, and I don't want to do that. And then scripting normally is the shortest part for me. Actually, scripting normally takes very little amounts of time because once you've done all the stat analysis, it's like, just throw stuff into a Word doc. And then there's physical editing and footage. Footage is another thing that takes me not a lot of time. But all of that combined, we're looking at, on a normal video, 12 hours is going to be fast on an analytical. Like that's hours of editing, like not me getting up, eating something. Really, though, on a more heavy one, 72 to 82. Now, that's not all at once. That's like 1 hour this day.
Yeah, sure.
15 minutes that day. But they get big. The biggest project I've worked on in a while was my video on frequency. Frequency is very much a bully to me because statistic-wise, to gather those stats, like that, I don't want to count that in time of editing, but to gather frequency stats, you need to play for a good month before you can come out. Like, you can't come out and say, hey, I played this week and I saw 5 H bars. Yeah, no, get out of here. That's not statistics. That's not numbers.
Small sample size.
Yeah, extremely small sample size.
Yeah.
So you need huge sample sizes for it to matter, in my eyes. Some people disagree with me, but I think big sample size. So those videos take forever. Lately, though, I've actually had a lot of people who've been willing to contribute data to me. They'll be like, hey, I played 40 rounds today. Here's every single gun that was in my rounds and how many. And then that can get frequency done a lot faster.
Sure.
But those things take forever. Like right now, I'm working on a frequency video. It probably won't be done till the end of July. And I've just started work on it.
Oh, wow.
So that's that's the situation.
Well, and that's kind of the YouTube life. If you want to do daily videos and you want to, well, I guess it depends on the type of videos you want to do. If you're doing more than just the slapstick, oh, here's a bunch of my encounters, one after another, or clips of various encounters just for fun's sake, then that's a whole different thing. But when you're doing yours, which are you're actually looking at a topic and you're delving into it, that's time, very time.
I do also make videos not about Vigor that are analytical. I personally, so I have an editor who does not work on all my videos. Like, I work on basically every Vigor video that comes out on my channel. But once in a blue moon, I make a video on like either Isanzo or Tannenberg, and that's my editor. He works on those. He also works on my update videos, because I have a personal opinion of myself that if I make preview videos like I do, I don't really have too much of a right to make an update video as well. I feel like that's milking the views. So I like having a differing opinion, who's my duo, sit down, and because he disagrees with so much stuff with me. So I feel like that's a nice change of pace. It's like, hey, viewers, Chris just told you 2 weeks ago that 8.1 is going to be amazing, and my duo agrees with me. But it's like, sometimes that's different. Like 6.0 was extremely different, our two opinions. And that's that. I just got sidetracked. But back to
Are we talking about Bobo?
Bobo, Bobo Rail.
Okay.
He's my editor. Yeah. He's a very interesting guy. He doesn't ramble as much as I do. He's much more short, concise, and to the point. But he works on occasional videos for me for Isanzo and Tannenberg, and there's more analytical about the war games. I'll do a lot of the scripting, but we work together. We're a good duo. We're a good duo.
That's cool.
And just to clarify, like, all your videos are usually like 5 to 10 minutes, if not longer, right? You don't do any of the YouTube shorts or anything like that where it's like a quick, like, 10-second clip or anything, right?
I ramble a lot. So shorts, I would love to do shorts. I would love to be able to encapsulate all of my thoughts about something into a short. But there's kind of two folds here. There's the sad truth that I physically can't fit that much data into 60 seconds because I ramble. Like, I try to stay very concise in my videos. But even in my conciseness, like, I just made a video about Northwestern Fist. I think it's 3 minutes long. That could have been a 1 minute video if I didn't ramble. But I do ramble to make sure I cover everything. Because I really hate watching a video where the guy only covers his perspective and his opinions. I try to be like, I might be wrong here. Like, I say that a lot in my videos. Like, I might be wrong here, but here's the outlier. Here's the data.
Right.
The shorts aren't possible for me, I would argue. The other thing is, shorts really view and monetary wise are not good for a channel from what I've experienced. They're quite bad. So I'm not the hugest fan of them for that reason as well. So like, trying to contain my data into 60 seconds on top of that, it just kind of makes for a recipe that I tried to not go for.
Gotcha. Yeah, that last video you uploaded yesterday, the Fist Northwestern Coast, is 6 minutes.
6 minutes, so that's a long one.
and trust me, we ramble all the time too. So there's no shame in that, right? Like the one episode we had like about consumable heals, it's like Doc was like, "Oh my god, this is going to be like maybe a 30-minute episode tops max or whatever." It's like, I think it ended up being one of our longer ones because it was like an hour and 5 minutes.
I watched that one. It was quite long.
It was quite long.
I play your guys' podcast while I edit sometimes. I stick in the headset and I'll be typing up my script and I'm like, that's a good point. I should consider that for a video that won't come out until August.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. And it's like talking about the data stuff. We got an idea for like one episode type thing, but like I was talking to Doc, and like same thing. It's like this project would end up taking us like I don't know how many games, and it's like you couldn't do it on stream,
Yeah.
because then it'd give it away, and then it's like I honestly don't know if we'll ever be able to do it. And then the part of the issue too is we don't know season to season if the values would change, and then that would
Here's a
throw
big thing.
everything
You
off,
guys-
right?
If you guys ever want to do a large project, I mean, I have a group called VSL. VSL doesn't
Yeah.
help me a lot, but they don't, because me and them have a very interesting relationship, me and my fans, edits. But they do like helping with projects. So you guys, if you guys are in the Discord, you can just say hi, and they would probably be love to help if it's something that people can help with. When it comes to data gathering, they're great, and they help me a lot with
Okay.
a couple.
Yeah, that's actually like one of the next questions too about VSL, but
Well, we could even roll right into it right now since
yeah.
you brought it up. Go for it. What was the question?
Well, you've done a lot of in-depth research on numerous maps and different aspects of Vigor. What led you to doing that? And you like not just not just about like the maps and stuff like that, but also about Vigor lore itself, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing official about any of the lore.
Yeah.
It's all stipulation, right?
That's
at this point.
That's a lot.
And yeah, exactly. And
It's a lot of
you've
personal
done quite a bit of lore work, right? And
Yeah.
that's how I actually stumbled upon Vigor Secrets and Lore, or VSL. And like I think I'm in the Reddit and the Discord. I apologize, I'm not too active.
You don't want to be active there. It's quite crazy.
But yeah, if you want to
VSL.
talk about it, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I'll start with the question before I deviate on the long or disoriented rants about how my Discord disappoints me daily. I love them. And if any of you are watching, I love you guys. But VSL and really the hunt for more data started way back in that home base video I mentioned.
Okay.
So we're jumping back to 0.7. I'm still a 76 YouTuber making Let's Play content. And I've always been a very, well, not a very good writer. I like writing. Writing is something that is huge to me. I do a lot. I'm writing a book right now in my free time. So when I stumbled across Vigor and I was playing with my duo, and I have this video called Suomi Hunters where you see me and Bobo being completely stupid in 7.0, like just not understanding how any of the game works. A thought snapped in my head when we were opening the map of the game, and we saw this little letters on the top. And I'm the type of guy who, when I see stuff like that, like I'll be playing Halo and I'll see some random scribbles, boop, I'm on Google. And the thing is, normally when I do that, I get a nice little article or a wiki that's like, this is what this means. And with this game, I didn't. And I was like, there's no info about the lore. And that's what started my hunt for the lore. Really, that no one's done this. No one's here. And slowly I gathered the skills necessary to make actual theories. I mean, Homebase and Red Norway are good in theory, but they don't really have enough evidence, and they don't really have enough articulation to properly be theories. And then I drop things like Battle Bridges or Timeline Explained, or those are solid, and those are very concrete based off of the things we see in the game. But I expanded from there because, so it's 0.8, it's 0.9. The game is in a situation where information is so limited. Mm-hmm. The wiki's bad. I was a wiki editor, actually. I used to edit the Vigor wiki. It's bad. It's still, like, it was a lot of work, and the work I put in was not enough to fix it. That is the situation of that wiki. So information was really low. And I was someone who sat down and I would watch streamers who would, unfortunately, unknowing to them, say things that just weren't true. They would go, oh, this gun can do this. And I'm sitting here like, no, it can't. What? And that slowly fermented into me being like, all right, you know what? I'm just going to do it. I'll get the data. I'll do all the work. And if that means, see, I do it because I want people to be able to make informed decisions. I want people to be able to sit down and go, like have a conversation, kind of like a podcast or any type of situation where I sit down and have two guys and I go, well, this is what I think about the A74K and this is what I think about the AKM. And then they go, well, the A74K can do this. And they state facts and objectivities. And then they state the AKM can do this. And instead of really what I saw a lot of when I started was a lot of people going, well, I like it to do this. Why do you like it? I don't know. It just kind of feels nice doing this. And it's like, no. The AKM feels nice, but why? And there's a why behind that.
Right.
And that was kind of what branched me out from lore. I mean, I'd love to go back to lore right now. I was talking to Bobo about it. We both want to go back to lore and kind of get off of analytical for a little bit, because we feel 8.1 did address a lot of the concerns we both had with the game. But analytical is going to be something I'm never going to leave, because I feel like there will always be questions that people will either fabricate answers to or just want the answers to. And whether those are questions I want answered or questions that other people want, either way, someone should answer them.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's just my thought.
No, that's excellent.
So are you excited that like they've hired like Vigor or Bohemia has actually hired someone to do lore and scripting, and that there will actually be some official lore coming? Because like I'm excited because so going back to like a few years ago, I used to play Overwatch, and the lore behind Overwatch is like fantastic. It was a little slow coming, like in between each little piece, but like it was always fantastic. So I was always excited to like kind of like take it all in. But Vigor, like
there's a minor concern among VSL that is kind of died down lately because of really the drought in the lore that we got with Sawmill. Sawmill had nothing in it. As a lore person, there is nothing lore-wise in Sawmill.
Okay.
There's nothing. And that's been basically confirmed by a couple devs now, that the map was pretty much rushed and that they didn't really put any deeper meaning behind it. Anakin has minor lore, very minor. It's not a lot, nothing you can really build on. So the fear with VSL before that, and this is the fear I'm mentioning because it's the devil's advocate. Because on one hand, it's like, oh yes, we are getting a guy that's making lore. Finally, the alternative perspective, and it's one that's held by a couple people, myself excluded, just clarifying, is there is a lot of lore still undiscovered. There's a lot of stuff that me and Bobo have on giant notepads that have not been put into videos, that have not been publicized. The fear is, will they deviate from Pekka's original image? Because Pekka's not on the team anymore.
Right.
Correct.
And really the fear among VSL people is, we don't want to write the story. We don't want to. VSL does not want to. I don't want to. If Bohemia were to reach out to me today and say, Chris, what's the story? I'd probably go call Pekka. Go call him. Not the person. I mean, I'll give you, based off of what I can find, I'll give you what I think the story should be. I'll tell you what the story shouldn't be based off what we know. But I don't really want the story to deviate from Pekka's original image. And the fear among VSL is that if they put more focus, I think it's a weird fear, but if they put more focus, they may mess it up. And they may, because the original ball of twine has been fully unraveled yet. And adding more twine to that may mess up the twine completely and make it impossible to unravel.
Okay.
But if they pull up like 9.0 with like a giant lore bomb that's like, the Battle of Tromso was real, I would be going off. I would be so happy. Like, I would be ecstatic. And even if it disagreed with me, even if the newest lore thing says it's literally just something that says, Chris, you are wrong, I would still be ecstatic. Like, I would be celebrating. But I think it's something interesting that I mentioned because it's the opposite opinion. And it's an interesting opinion among a lot of VSL people. It's very if you say that in VSL, a lot of people will probably you'll start a big old debate. You'll be like, you don't want more lore? Yeah, I do, but they like debating with each other.
Sure. Excellent. Okay. Well, no, that's really fascinating. I like that. I can't wait to see what comes of it, and we'll just have to just watch, watch
Yeah.
and learn. Yeah.
Yep.
Watches Zane as slowly adds more things to the game to mess with me. Did
Yeah.
you guys see what he added to ground time? There's a sign on ground time
Oh,
that
is
says
there?
Pekka.
Yeah.
Says Pekka. It's in
Yeah.
it's in the mountains. I'm not joking. Me and Bubba were sitting at the sign for like 6 hours. And we're going, what is this sign? What is this sign? Where did it come from? Where did it come from? And we're trying to decode it. And eventually we got IX Wardog. He stepped
Yeah.
in. He helps me with a lot of the ciphers.
Yeah.
Because I'm not too good with ciphers. And he cracked it. But that's something where I was like, oh, Zane's just messing with me. Yep, he's just messing with me. He just pulled up and he was like, all right, we're going to bully
Yeah.
Chris today. And you want to know the worst part of it? That sign isn't new. The sign, the Pekka, the words Pekka, that's new. But the sign has been there since 0.8. So it's literally like someone said, let's add something to something. Chris will never check. And I did check it. But
I remember seeing that video too. And it was like funny.
Oh man.
When you found out about it.
So much.
But and I remember too, there was like a dev stream like, oh man, this is probably like going a couple months back now. And it was like Zane kind of like mentioned that there might be something on Fisk, and then he's like, oh, maybe Cristiferbeast is going to have to like, you know, walk around Fisk for a while and figure this out or whatever. And you're like, wait, do I really have to do this? And then you're like, ah.
You said something like there's something on Fisk where you need to walk around in like intervals of 5 meters, and I took him seriously. There was the thing we eventually discovered was the Morse, which IX Wardog helped me with.
Right.
Yeah. I'm ciphers, not my fly zone, at all. History, I can help with that. Looking at a random tag and going, wait a second, that's Soviet. That I can do. But everything else is kind of like, not my forte. But yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Next, you've sort of talked about this a little bit already, I believe. When did you start playing Vigor? Now you started early, but not as early as others. So, when did you get into it, and what was it that drew you in? You might have mentioned this a little bit as we were talking before, but let's get a little bit more specific if we can.
So I started on the original free-to-play weekend, the one where it was in Xbox game preview.
Right, because it was
0.7.
You had to buy it before
April,
that.
Yeah. I actually did buy it after the free-to-play weekend.
Oh, okay.
So way back. The thing that was for me, so my duo was the one who introduced me to the game. He'd been playing since 0.5. He got the game when it hit game preview. He predates me in the game by 6 months. And actually, the reason I didn't catch on the game very early on is because I just didn't have the dough to buy the game originally. But eventually, he convinced me. He pulled the little evil and forced me to buy it. But originally, Vigor was bad. I mean, a lot of people who played during that time would like you to disagree otherwise, but it was bad. I remember there was a lot wrong with it. Firefights would really be RNG because hit reg was so bad that like guns like the Scorpion you would point blank someone and you'd hit one round a mag, and you'd be like, okay, that's not fun. So really, I became a looter player when I started. So I focused on looting because gunfights were horrible and they just were not something anyone wanted to get into. Bugs were constant, crashes were constant. I made a video not too long ago talking about the fact that in 0.8 the server would go out the entire weekend. The devs would go home Friday night, and the servers would go out Friday night, and they wouldn't come back on until Monday. And you're like, okay, yep, I guess I'm not playing this weekend. And it was bad. It was bad. But the thing for me was its art. It's a very beautiful game, especially if you consider 2 years ago when it was, 2 years ago, what else other games looked that good? Not really too many. I mean, I played Exodus when Exodus came out, but Exodus I don't think was out by that point when Vigor first dropped. I don't think Exodus was out on console at least. So for me, the game was very beautiful, and its looter mechanics were something for me that was just not in any other game. Which is part of the reason I'm so sad that looting just doesn't matter in the game anymore.
Yeah.
But looting and the art was what it was for me. The art and sound design was really what made it. Because some people were trying to go, oh, I like the gunfire. No, if you played in 0.7, you didn't like it. You are lying. You are lying.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody liked point blanking each other and hoping, because third person was barely understood. Nobody really understood how to do third person peeps. Nobody understood how to use third person aggressively. So get third person out. Third person's out of the question. Everyone's in first person. Nobody really understands how crates work properly. No, I don't think hardly anyone ever maxed out their shelter. I played from 0.7 every single day up until the game released, and I got up to shelter level 6 as a looter.
Oh,
So
wow.
end game content was just, the grind was so hard.
Mhm.
So you weren't getting your hands on H bars and ADRs. You weren't getting your hands on SG. Well, actually, SG wasn't in the game. You weren't getting your hands on really anything, especially in 0.7 and 0.8 days where, the game was just bare bones. So nobody was really playing for gunfights at all, I'd argue, at least until 0.8. Until 0.8, 0.9. 0.9 more so. 0.9, they did a wipe. They wiped everyone's inventory. Everybody complained. But after that, 0.9 and 1.0, gunplay was at least playable. They removed half the guns in the game, but it was playable, at least. You would
Right.
shoot someone, and it wouldn't phase through their body half the time. I remember a big glitch that made me very much laugh back when I first started. The sun used to get so bright that it would shine through every object, and you would be blind. You would not be able to play. So imagine you pull up on Fell Canton, and the only way you can see is if you're in a shadow. Like, I'm not joking. If you're not in a shadow, you are blind.
Oh, wow.
And it's Fell Canton.
Yeah.
And so you're just sitting there blind, bumbling towards the exit. You fall off a cliff and die. And you're like, oh, well, this is why I don't blink scorpions on these encounters. Scorpions are too expensive. I need to downgrade. I think legitimately I was a scorpion main for a good 2 weeks. I was a KSU main by the end of 0.8.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, it was bad times. I know a lot of people were fans of the game back then, gun wise, but I don't know how. You were lucky to get into a gunfight, crashing in the sky, screaming at you. So yeah.
Okay.
So I guess next question would be, we mentioned you're a Vigor partner. Was there any particular reason why you wanted to become a partner? And do you want to talk about the application process and how that went?
So I was made partner way back 0.8. I wanted to become a partner for lore reasons. I wanted to make sure there was a partner. I'll be honest about this kind of. When I applied to the partner, my vision of what the partnership was very much tainted by the partners at the time. They were very, very nice men. Like one of my inspirations is Dizzy Online. Dizzy Online is an inspiration for me in the work that he did. Smokey Dopey, great man. But there was people like Tate Nuts TV who gave a bad taste to a lot of players who felt like, he's trying to change the game into something it wasn't. And that was kind of the big view among me and my friends and the people I knew, like early VSL. We're talking like the first 30, 40 members of the group. Everyone viewed the partners as people who were trying to make Vigor into something it wasn't. For a lot of us, it was COD. They wanted to turn the game into COD.
Yeah.
They wanted to lower the TTKs. They wanted to make it more linear.
Right.
So when I was made a partner, I didn't really care about gunplay. Because in my eyes, I was like, I'm just a small partner. I only had like 100 subs at the time. I'm going to focus on lore. Because I want to make sure that these COD guys aren't going to turn and get rid of the lore. But things changed pretty quickly when I was made a partner. Because when you're surrounded by people who are trying to make the game into COD, you kind of want to fight them and kind of want to argue with them and be like, yo, please don't. Please, please, can we please keep the game, not COD? The partnership's gotten better. But on a application process, I applied for the partnership late May, I want to say, of whatever 2 years ago. I guess it would be 2019.
Right. Yeah.
I didn't think I got accepted. because I don't check my email. I'm really bad about it. I'm horrible at checking my email. I got accepted on, like, I think June 4th. I didn't check my email until like July,
Oh, jeez.
early July. I actually checked my email because my birthday's on the 8th. So I was like, yo, maybe I got some emails from like someone for my birthday. And I checked. I was like, oh, I'm a partner.
I got
And then I
that
saw a
partner.
second email. Yeah. Yeah.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
I saw a second email that was like, "You're invited to the partner." There was a competition among partners back in Point 7 where they would all like fight each other. It happened once where they all fought each other in this big old competition. They're like, "You're invited." I'm like, "What's the date for?" I'm excited for this. June 28th. Ha ha ha! Great! I totally missed that deadline. Another thing was though, since I was so small and I didn't really have a lot of subs at the time. I knew if I wanted to become a partner, I would have to text a dev. And I'm a very extroverted person. I talk a lot. But back then I was very, very introverted. Very. So I slid into Sweet Tsunami. You know who Sweet Tsunami is? Alex, I forget his last name. He's great.
Oh, like the one who was on the dev stream there not too long ago?
Yeah, the one who I stuck his head on Arnold Schwarzenegger. Him.
Okay.
I slid into his DMs, and I didn't know he was a dev at first. I had been talking to him for a little bit about the game, and then I learned he was a dev, and I was like, ooh. I was like, listen, here's the thing. I'm going to be here no matter what. You can't get rid of me. I'm like a pest. You're going to have to probably pull out like some biofuel to get rid of me. the question, I was like, I'm going to be here. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to make videos. I'm going to stream. I'm going to build a community. I'm going to stay in this game. I'm not leaving. And It's up to you. I don't meet the deadlines at all. I don't meet the requirements even close. I'm 100 subs when the requirement was 1K. And I was like, but I'm going to be here. And if you make me a partner, I'm going to be here either way. And I would appreciate being made a partner. I'd appreciate being able to work with you guys closer and being able to change this game for the better. But if you don't, I won't hold anything against you. And then he made me a partner, I guess. That's at least the only conclusion I can come to. Either that or, the other devs. I was talking to other devs at the time, not really about my partnership, but more so about other things. Maybe one of them stepped in. I mean, I talked to Pekka a lot, basically his whole run. So that was my partner application process. It was a little weird, missing the email and talking to devs in their DMs is not the standard partner way. But things were different, definitely, when I joined the partnership. It was more casual. The devs were very trusting of the community, and they still are. But they were more so, they hadn't really gotten a reason to not trust someone for applying for partnership, which now, sadly, there are quite a couple. But back then it was different. It was just different. I wouldn't say better though. I would not say better.
Sure. Yeah.
I want to clarify. It was not better.
No, that's fair. Okay. Yeah, because I do know other people who have applied and who haven't gotten, and I've even applied just not because I was thinking I would get in yet, but just to throw that I was interested at some point in becoming one. So, but they were actually pretty quick to respond, saying, "Oh, sorry, you don't meet the requirements at this time," which was all cool.
Yeah.
At least they responded and gave an answer, so that's great.
And really, the thing about a partner, there's even some partners now that are below the requirements that got, and then it's buckle down and prove you're staying here, prove you're a positive voice in this community. And the thing is, you can criticize the devs. I criticize the devs a lot. Like I am pretty loud voice against a lot of things that the devs made decisions wise. I used to be more upset back when the game was worse, back in like 4.1. But it's about being positive. It's about helping people. It's about, and this is for anyone that wants to be a partner. If you just keep being positive and you just keep working at it, eventually one of the devs is going to get a little notification on this thing and you're going to, oh, he's live. Let me watch his stream. Let me watch his content. Oh, his content's fire because your content's fire. let me send it to all the other devs, and let's all sit down and maybe just sneak this one in. Sneak them in with a group of other people who meet the restrictions. I mean, I've seen that happen a couple times lately. So no matter what your size is, just keep working and just keep being it. Doesn't matter if they refuse the first time. Just go at it.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
build your community.
It's like, it builds your community, but like I honestly think like the 1K mark is like it's almost like a deterrent just to like not get people with like who just literally just started to like apply, right?
I can tell you a minor story about why I think there's a 1K mark. And this isn't really diss, it's just old community stuff.
Right.
So it's 0.9, and there was a guy who me and Smokey Dopey requested to be a partner. Both of us asked the devs, we pleaded with the devs, hey, make this guy a partner. And he had like 200 followers. And one update later, he went off the rails, attacked the devs on everything he had, and kind of completely shifted gears.
Yeah. So
while I don't necessarily know why it's a 1K, I think really the 1K, as you said, is a stopgap, so that way people who have a lot more to have to. If someone has like 1,000 followers and they've been in Vigor for a while, they have a large fan base. They can't turn around and change all of their opinions in one day and do something that could be potentially damaging to the partnership. They're going to have to stay a little bit more, the same. And it's up. I really think it's up to the interpreter on whether or not that was a good choice on them.
Right.
Because it's one hand, it has its positives. On the other hand, it does have its definite negatives.
Mm-hmm.
In making that decision.
Yeah.
I sound like an old wizened person telling old stories from like way back in the community.
But it's really fascinating though.
Yeah. An old person who's like in their early 20s.
Well, in video games, it doesn't.
Yeah.
That is what it is, right?
It is what it is.
Yeah. So your Vigor Secrets and Lore VSL is partnered with Vigor Rivals. So could you give an explanation of what that is for everyone?
So Rivals is a competitive Discord made by me and Smokey. Smokey's the guy who founded it. I did a lot of work we both did a lot of work. I don't want to take away anything from Smokey. It's just he's not here, so I can't really talk on his behalf too much. But he's the founder of it, and VSL has done a ton of work with it over our run. And its real philosophy, its guiding philosophy behind it is, Jimmy down the street might not have $30 in his wallet, and he might not be able to play Vigor every single day, so much so that he's going to go pay $15 to join a competitive tournament, right? Mm-hmm. But Jimmy down the street wants to play a more intense Vigor. And, that's what we wanted to offer with Rivals. You're able to sit down with people, and, some people don't even aim to win. There's people like really try hard. They're like, oh yeah, I want to win. I want to get the newest records in Rivals. I want to win this week. I want to win next week. I want to win the monthly leaderboard. But Rivals is more so aimed at, let's get everyone to compete. Because who knows? Maybe Jimmy down the street is the best player. Maybe because, just because he doesn't have the time to be number one on leaderboard, just because he, doesn't have $15 to fork over for some big expensive tournament. Rivals is free. Anyone can join. Jimmy, go prove that you're number one,
Right.
And the way we do that is we try to put equal focus on both sides of the game. So Vigor is a looter and shooter. So we have a point system that awards some points for looting and a lot more points for shooting, because shooting's a little bit harder to do. Just a little.
Just a little.
And it tries to make a balance between those two, so that way, if you're Jimmy down the street, you're anyone, and you want to go, you know what, today let me go play Rivals, let me go get a 110 or 118 by the score combination or whatever it is. Let me next week go try to beat that score, and then you beat it the next week, and then you beat it the next week, and then now you're starting to look like, hey, can I win these things? Can I win these competitions? And then if you win that, can I win the monthly? Can I win enough times first place to actually be the number one player in Rivals? And it's more laid back and relaxed, and I feel like that's really what gives it its positivity, and it's more It's not like you're pulling up high stakes. Oh, I just $5. I could have bought a hoagie with that. 2 hoagies. It's like it's here. I think, yeah.
Yeah, and there's different, like, you kind of like touched upon it, like you reward looting and stuff like that. There's different actual like tournament I don't know if you want to call it tournament modes, but different rules or whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's not just like kills or looting. It's like a mix every week, right?
Yeah. We have different weeks. We have different tournaments each week. I think this week we have 2 of the same tournament because a lot of the people have been busy. But normally we try to spice it up. We have the Hunt, which was a kill only. You have OTTG, which is kills and loot. And then you have the Elim tournaments where we take 2 groups and they'll fight each other off in a 3 rounds. See, best of 3. And then I think we also have a shootout comp, but I haven't done the shootout comp in forever. I haven't hosted it at least. Yeah. But really, the point is, I think personally, the point is to push yourself to be better at the game. I mean, that's why I play it.
Yeah. It's definitely something like I reached out to you, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, and like I really, really wanted to play in it. Like, this is something I really do want to participate in. It's just like with me, my gaming time is like kind of limited to like kind of when I stream type thing. So and sometimes on weekends. So yeah, but I think this works out. I'm probably going to be able to join like one of the Rivals tournaments because like it's a little more flexible. Like usually it's a full day thing, right?
Yeah.
Where it's not like a set date and time. Yeah. Whereas some of the paid tournaments, like they've had them. I think there's been someone like a Friday night, where I used to have date night with the wife on a Friday night. It's moved to Sundays now, but like so I couldn't participate then, or it's been like middle of the day, which typically like I have a soon-to-be 15-month-old baby, and it's like obviously during a weekend, you kind of want to spend time with the family, right? So
yeah.
And that's something Rivals really also does. Again, back to that, anyone can compete. We have players. I mean, I'm going to be honest. The reason we did that was because we have UK players and US. And imagine trying to schedule a tournament between those. It's impossible.
Yeah.
It's just not possible. But that has kind of expanded into, hey, I can't play at noon. I can't play at 3 EST. I can't play at 9 EST. And I go play at 11 o'clock at night. That's when I play. I do my tournament rounds at 11 o'clock at night because that's when I'm done editing. So it's a matter of, everyone's schedule. They can shift themselves a little bit. And, if they can't make the day, all right. But we try to be very, open to, malleable. There are often times where if you message me the day before and you're like, hey, Chris, can't make tomorrow's tournament. Can I do my rounds today? Yes, you can. Do your rounds today. Oh, nice. I'm watching you, you're fine. Or someone will message me, hey, Chris, can't do them today. Can I do them tomorrow? Make sure you get them done by a certain time. So I have to store them. But like, I am willing to work with people because that's really my focus with it. Everyone should have a chance to, have a place to try hard, but not have to constantly try hard.
Yeah.
And just, get a little taste of being a little sweaty. And then, yeah.
Awesome. And then I guess our next question. Now, you did touch about it earlier on. You made a video about it. What are your thoughts on 8.1, the 8.1 update so far?
So 8.1 is predictably been my favorite update. If you're under, like, really, I'm going to try to articulate this as best as I can. So the thing with me is I believe a game should be balanced. I think a game should have balance between its top guns and its bottom guns. Way back in 8.8, there used to be a ADR was broken. Back then, I used to scream at the ADR. And everybody, oh, Chris, you can't scream with the ADR. It's a gold gun. It's supposed to be this. Yeah, it's a 4-shot and it's a laser. It's the best sniper in the game. Yeah, I'm going to scream at it. It's an issue. And I am still someone that is of that group. I believe, we had a 2-shot HMG, a 2-shot gun with a 31-round mag that had less bloom than an SVU that was purple. And it was in every single loot POI. That's an issue. And a lot of people got mad at me about that. Chris, you don't. Well, as someone that runs the statistics, I can't make a stat video and go, "Hey guys, weapon frequency here today. The H bar is the number one used gun in the game, 7%, because it was." I can't sit here and put a smile on it and go, "That's a good thing." No, that means that somehow, some way, even new players are outrageously overusing this weapon to a point where it's becoming defining for the game.
Mm-hmm.
On top of that, when I walk up on a damage stat video, like, oh guys, these guns are all balanced because they're, every AR is 4-shot. Every automatic AR in the game is basically 4-shot. I mean, there's some exceptions, but mostly 4-shot. Oh, well, the H bar's 2. The SG's 2. I can't tell you why. I don't know why they balanced it this way. Right. And for me, fixing that was amazing. Like, I am now able, like, as a player, I'm happy because I can now go play with my dinky weapon that I think is balanced. The PAMD, I might be an unpopular opinion. I think that gun's balanced. I think that gun, due to its high versatility, due to its 4-shot kill, not a bad weapon. It's hard. It is hard to use. I can attest to that. I'm dying a lot right now. But I can now go out there and I'm not going to get dinked on by a guy who just went to lock container, grabbed a 2-shot rifle, sprinted at me with his 31-round mag and killed me. I'm happy. Now, I will say this as well. I will run weapons like the KK62 that are built to counter the H bar. KK62 is a hard counter to it. So it's not like I'm complaining because I am dying to the H bar. It's more so that I can't sit back and go, stat-wise, this thing's completely broken, but that's okay because it's purple. I can't really do it.
Yeah.
Especially when I try to convince people, like, oh, what change do we want in the game? Well, we could try buffing every gun in the game up and trying to match the H bar. But how do you buff guns like the SVU? Do you make it 1-shot? Do you give it the same bloom as the H bar? Well, then it's a worse H bar with an 11-round mag. That's not an answer.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, it has a slightly faster fire rate. Okay, then it's better at CQC. Why is the SVU better at CQC than the H bar? That's stupid in my eyes. And that's why 8.1, I think, is something that is a huge step in the right direction. I mean, the consumables is in the same boat for me. When portables came out, I made a video that was very scathing to the devs. I said, you guys have turned this game into something it's not. How is someone supposed to loot? How is someone supposed to play casual when a hunter can hit the button, sprint at you, and wipe you out in seconds? I've always held that opinion. Why would you do that? How can a new player, I've heard constant, new players are fair. Every gun in the game 1-shots. Yeah, well, the looter's 7 to body. When you stick armor on that, it's 10 to body. How is that considered okay? I mean, I'm not saying we buff the looter. I'm just saying you can't let armor change the way the game works. So I was always enemies of both of those items, and now both have been reeled in. You can't bring in 4 armor. So that way when you shoot someone, the poor looter kid who's first round in shoots you 20 times, and you just keep equipping new armor, and you just don't die. Is that looking good for the game and it's balancing? No. Especially when you can get armor in any POI.
Right.
So for me, 8.1 was a massive step in the right direction. And I am probably the biggest vocal fan of it. Now that has gotten a lot of disdain. A lot of people are very unhappy with my opinion. That's fine. I just think if you look at the statistics and you look at the numbers and interpret them the way I have, most people would come to the same conclusion as me, that it was needed. So
yeah, and like, since I started like over a year ago, at this point, it's like Vigor just got super aggressive. Like every season, I want to say it just kept getting more and more aggressive. It seems less and less people actually loot, and yeah, I can agree with all that. Like, I honestly don't mind like limiting the ports and stuff like that. It kind of makes sense, right? And like when Vigor put out the tweet about like, what consumables do you bring in type thing, and like literally you looked at every tweet, and I think they mentioned it in a dev stream where like 90% of the answers were portables, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, well, clearly like this needs to be changed, right?
This is
and I think
overused.
I think the biggest sorry.
No, yeah.
I I think the biggest curiosity regarding this, I mean, not to again sound like the old man in the community, but when mortar strikes were added, there was so much vocal outrage. People were freaking out. They were going, "You made Vigor too aggressive. You made Vigor too anti-camp." And when the shoe went on the other foot and portables and armor was added, people just kind of let it go. And I hear this opinion often, and the opinion I keep hearing is, well, portables, armor, and H-bar basically lasted a year. SG1, maybe a little bit less than a year for portables and armor, but H-bar and SG is a year. Why did we touch it now? And I think the answer to that question is, I don't know. The answer is, I don't know. I think maybe here's what I would like to say. I'd like to say, maybe the community has changed and the community has realized there's an issue in this. But I think really the people who have been complaining about this are the same people who were complaining about ADR. People who complain about 8.1, same people that complained about the ADR. Same group. So the size of the group hasn't changed in my eyes. They're the same people, the almost complete overlap in their opinions and how they argue with themselves. Yeah. Because I've argued both groups because I supported ADR nerfs. Back when we nerfed the ADR, there was a statement that was, "You want to make the Suomi meta?" No, I don't. But the thing that's changed is the ability of the devs to listen, and that they are now hearing that maybe it's a vocal minority. Maybe the people complaining, "Hey, don't touch my HBR, don't touch my ADR." Well, they only occupy at max 20% of play race. And that's a big part to lose, but that is a minority. Mm-hmm. That is a minority opinion. And by appealing to that minority, how many players have we lost? How many people have clicked on Vigor? And, I'm not talking new players, not just new players, because people like to misconstrue me as, "Oh, Chris, you only care about new players." No, I have tons of friends who have quit the game because they go, Vigor doesn't care about its game. Vigor's not going to try to balance. And it was that year of not touching anything, the year that people go, "Why did Vigor do this?" Well, it's because you've been screaming at them every single minute of that year to not change anything. Yeah. Well, people are quitting on mass numbers. Vigor's 8.0 was the worst update number-wise on Twitch in viewer base. And from what I've heard about every single YouTuber who streamed in that time, every single one has agreed 8.1 was a massive downtick in players. 8.0, not 1. 8.0. Yeah. Well, 8.0, we didn't touch anything. 8.0, we let the status quo stay. We listened to the H-bars. We listened to the SGs. We said, okay, we're going to do it your way. Nothing's wrong, right? Everything's wrong. Everything was wrong. And then 8.1, I mean, I'm sure a lot of you have seen the massive viewer update on Twitch right now. That's happening for all streamers. I mean, I could, if I were to pull my numbers up, and be like, "Yo, I'm doing well right now," they'd go, "Oh, well, because you're pro 8.1. Well, no, it's happening on Twitch as a whole. Even people who hate 8.1 we're seeing largely more viewers on Twitch than we would have been seeing when 8.0 dropped. 8.0, I think we hit a max of, I want to say 112 viewers. And this, around 6 o'clock today, I saw 206 some random time in the afternoon that I was watching. That's double in about the same amount of time for a mid-season update. Yeah. So I think I got a little off task, but the point I'm making is by listening to the H-bars and the SGs and going, well, it's been 9 months, it's been 6 months, it's been 3 months, it's been a week. Why change it? We lost a lot of players. And I think the devs realize that. Right. And I think that's the point that has been made.
I will say this about the 8.0 update. There was one change. The Rafika changed.
The Rafika nerf. The Rafika nerf, yes.
And now, I love the Rafika, and I still love it. But this is the thing I'll argue about is, honestly, I didn't get to play a whole lot 8.1, right? Because I had a little mini vacation. So I had basically one stream where I actually got to try the H-bar, and SG1 I got 2 games in, and I got clapped within a minute each round. It was ridiculous. But anyways, the H-bar, to me, honestly, the nerf isn't that bad.
No.
The recoil change is there's a recoil change, but it's this is where like skilled players who know how to control recoil, they're still going to be able to use it.
Yeah,
It's
they should be
still
fine.
yeah, it's still a viable weapon, right? Same thing with the Ravka when they changed it at the beginning of the season. The recoil changed. It's still viable.
Yeah,
Like
it's still very viable. I was using it on Africa not long ago, and I got threat with it. That thing's still very
Yeah,
viable.
exactly.
It's a
I did too.
solid Parabellum gun. Parabellum's 5 shot, so you just got to hit 2 bursts, and anything's gonna die.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's like I kind of like to play devil's advocate. Like I get it. Like you should reward like the more experienced players who have built up their shelters and they have the capabilities of building them. But at the same time, like
But a quick counter to the devil's advocate. I mean, I know we're devil's advocate and then counter, so we're kind of building here. But why isn't the gold guns the best in the game?
well, yeah, that's another thing too, right? Like we could
Yes,
talk about the rarity because the rarity doesn't like it. Yeah, it's hard to define it, right? Because your gold guns aren't the most aren't the best weapons, but they're also not the rarest weapons.
Well,
right?
Here's a statement. I'm working on a tier list right now, and this is kind of where it's weakening my script a bit.
Yeah.
The gold guns, a lot of people look at them and they try to compare them to like SG1, H-bar, Bugle. You know, guns that are like Bugle's a iffy for me right now. A74K AKM. You know, that's your S tier. That's your guns that are a little bit outrageous to varying degrees. But ADR is a 4-shot. ADR is a 4-shot with an insane rate of fire, very good mid-range, one of the best CQC guns in the game. The MP5 is a 5-shot, which is a little low, I will agree, but it has very little bloom and very little recoil as well, making it quite a good gun. The Parker Hale's supposed to be a 1-shot if servers work. Servers don't work, and that's the problem of the Parker Hale. But the Parker Hale on statistics and on stats and on checking is a 1-shot weapon to chest. Moving on from there, you have the Job, which is not a gun. We're not going to count that as a gun. But the SVD and SVU, the SVD is it has no drop-off, noticeable drop-off if everything works correctly. Again, UK servers right now are having some problems that Parker Hale bug is still on them. East Coast has gotten rid of Parker Hale bug. I don't know how that happened, but it's occurring. It's a headache.
Yeah.
But the SVD, if Parker Hale bug's not real, doesn't have any noticeable drop-off till 300 meters. That means you're 2-shotting people at 300 meters. No other gun can do that in the game. The SVU has an extremely high rate of fire and is 2-shot. It also has very little bloom.
Mm-hmm.
The only issue with it is it's an 11-round mag. Those are all balanced, good weapons.
Yeah.
Really good weapons. But people don't use them because they're properly expensive. And that is how balancing should be handled. You know, people are kind of using the SVU now because it's showing up in loot POIs. But why aren't people using the ADR? Oh, because it actually follows proper loot curve, because it's actually expensive for being the best SMG in the game. Why don't we support this for SG and H-bar? Get SG and H-bar completely out of loot POIs, you know? And then I'll agree to it being broken. That's not really what they want. They don't want rarity. They want their fancy SG H-bar, which is fine.
Mm-hmm.
I just kind of wish they'd say that.
Yeah, I love the SVU. Like, I've been using it on and off. Like, I think my best like actual kill game was with the SVU on Anakin, where I think I almost got like the whole map cleared with it. Like, I'll use it. It's just like you said, it's expensive, but I've been stockpiling them, and now I'm up to like 76 in my inventory, right?
And that's what proper stockpiling should be. So when someone goes into a comment section or goes into a stream and goes into the devs DMs or goes into the devs tweets and goes, well, I've been stockpiling hundreds of H-bars. Well, okay, but the H-bar's in every loot POI. The SVU only shows up occasionally.
Yep.
And you've been playing for quite some time to make 76 SVUs. You want to hear a strange little statistic from back when the ADR was popular? You used to be able to get stacks of 10 guns in every single gold crate.
Whew.
So I used to open up a gold crate. I'd get 1 stack of SG1s, 10. Get 1 stack of H-bars, 10. 2 stacks of ADRs, 28 ADRs. And then people would go, well, you know, the ADR is the most rare gun in the game. No, it's not. No, I just got 20.
No.
I have more ADRs than I have Lugers, actually. Still do. I have 213 ADRs.
Yeah. I got like 130 some ADRs too, and it's like I like it too. my issue is the ammo is so expensive, and I
Yeah.
like. So before I used to have problems with materials, right?
Mhm.
Like I'd always be short on materials. I'd be crafting like ports because like you almost had to craft
Yeah.
ports, right?
Yeah.
Or even armor plates.
Yeah.
So I would actually save the ammo, and I still do. Like I'll loot ammo from the ADR even if I don't even have it on me because like it's so
expensive.
valuable.
Yeah, that thing costs an arm and a leg. I'm
Yeah,
taking
and
some of that home.
the thing that doesn't make sense, which like who knows if they're actually going to change it, is the fact that you could deconstruct it or build it for the same cost, right?
Yes, that
So
is part of
that's
it.
why I do that all the time, right? I'll loot it and then it's like get back to my shelter and like I'll stockpile it. But if I'm short on mats, it's like it's one of the first things I actually go and deconstruct. Is
The thing I find interesting is more so the issue with the predicament that you're explaining is a slight one, but the more interesting one for me, and the one I've been looking into lately, because a lot of people who complain about HBAR-SG are going, well, you know, I deconstructed every other gun to make these, and for me, I'm considering where the dev decision to make deconstruction as lucrative as it is, because it is pretty lucrative. If I grab an ADR and I go extract with it and I deconstruct it, I can fund quite a lot of guns. Where the dev decision for that came from, but more so, how is material economy supposed to work in the game right now? Because on one hand, you have loot POIs that are dropping guns that are extremely expensive. If I go take an H-bar back home, it's 16,000 mats per H-bar. They're in almost every single, not normal loot POA. They got out of those. They're in locked containers now. Almost 100% spawn of a purple gun of some kind.
Mm-hmm.
The 16,000 mats, you get on average 25% of deconstruction rate. So that's 16,000 divided by 4. You're looking at 4,000 mats per one. That's a decent chunk. Every round, you can pretty much pull that off. If I run something like a Scorpion, I can have a giant net benefit. If I die as well, there's material reimbursement, which returns 5% of your loadout, regardless what you did with it. If you died, anything. If you pick up things in the encounter, that's included. So if I run into an encounter with 5 billion ADR ammo and die, I'm getting 5% of that 5 billion back, and that's a pretty big number. It adds up quickly. So in that vein, my curiosity for the devs and handling materials going forward is the material system's completely broken now. Everybody has a lot of H-bars, a lot of SGs, a lot of purple guns that they can deconstruct for a lot of materials. How are we going to make materials worth it moving forward? How are we going to convince people, besides craft time? Because I'm not running a Parker Hell because it has a 20-hour craft time or something stupid. No. But what's convincing me from not running, a butyl with 6,000 ammo? Like, really nothing. I mean, besides, practicality. That's practicality moving into here.
Right.
The cost of the butyl isn't really bad once you get over that certain threshold where your mats are just outrageously high. Mm-hmm. Like I'm at 2.1 million mats right now. When am I ever going to care about mats again? And how can the devs change endgame to make me care about mats? Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I've been looking at a bit lately right now. Like, what could the devs do to make purples worth it? What could they do to make mats worth it?
Yeah.
To make deconstruction and crafting a decision rather than I need another bugle. Let me just go deconstruct all my AKMs. How do we make that decision harder? How do you make it so people don't want to do that? Because by making people not want to do that, and I know that sounds a little bit callous, dictating what people should do, but maybe they'll pick up that AKM. AKM is weird right now, so not AKM. Or ZAM-72. They'll pick up the ZAM-72 and go, oh, this gun's cool. It's a pretty solid gun. It's a 3-shot kill. Pretty solid. Maybe I want to main this. And then we get more weapon diversity. And weapon diversity means more interesting firefights. How awesome would it be if I pull up on the draw cannon and it's not always an H-bar? If that's maybe the guy has PKM. That's a whole other different type of firefight. And that will inspire people who are longtime players who, Vigor's so boring. It's the same thing every encounter. To stay longer because they're getting different tastes of different firefights. And it won't feel like I just played the same encounter 5 times in a row. So that's just, I meandered a bit with the conversation, but I think I got to a point eventually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. And I don't know about like I've been playing 8.1 a little bit like for the last few days as well, and I've been largely enjoying it. It's been really good. I've been trying out the different weapons that now that they've fixed the bloom bug. Trying out the weapons that would always have issues with bloom. I was always like, I know AKM was like one of the favorite guns out there, but for me is one I could never really use. I just found maybe the bloom
Yeah,
was just
AKM has very high bloom.
yeah,
Very
it
high
was it
bloom.
was really
No
high
recoil.
bloom, and I had a hard time using AKM, and I was using it last. I think I was using it some today, and I was using a little bit yesterday, and it's like, okay, I can actually use this gun now. It's actually, you know, for me, it works. But I've also been playing with other guns, and yeah, seeing a big improvement in gunplay, for
Yes,
sure.
yes, yeah, yeah.
I,
I
I
am actually becoming a PA main.
Yeah, I
Oh, really?
actually I've been
3
running.
weeks ago.
Yeah, I've been running the PAMD 86 quite a bit actually lately because it was one as well I never looked at much. It was even before the 8.1 update I started using it. I think in 8. I don't know if they made a change to it in 8 or not, but I started using it near the end of
Mhm.
8.0, and yeah, I was actually really enjoying that gun. And
It's a fun gun.
yeah, it's a good little
Fun gun
gun.
for sure. Do you know that gun is Pekka's favorite?
No, I didn't.
It's my favorite gun. That's actually the reason I'm deciding to main it because
Oh,
now
nice.
it's usable, somewhat usable. God,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
Still,
and a few little bugs too in 8.1 like they fixed quite a bit, but then I
yeah,
run into a few little
yeah,
ones like the lock
yeah.
containers back, where you open a lock, not lock container, I'm sorry, locked box, where you open the lock box
Oh,
and it closes right
Yeah.
away on you.
Yes.
That little bug is
Yes.
back. um
There's also HAM, A74K, and M16 do not have recoil anymore, and nobody knows where the recoil went. Uh, I was talking to the guy behind guns who
Yeah.
works on guns for Vic, and he said he didn't change anything. So what happened was the animations got changed because the animation get overhauled almost every update, which
Right.
is our
Yeah.
animation team is constantly working. And somehow when they were redoing the design with the animations, it impacted recoil some indirect way. And it
Oh.
happened with a couple guns actually. Apparently the RPK lost recoil,
Oh.
a lot of it, not completely,
Yeah.
but it lost some. I've been hearing RPK 74. I've been hearing SS 82. I've been hearing a lot of things.
And I haven't
It
actually
lost
played those guns this patch yet.
I have luckily not played the SS 82. It is my least favorite gun in this game. If I played it, that means I have been punished.
But the A74 is like one of my favorites from early on.
Yeah.
I used to use
Yeah.
that gun a lot. Then I switched around to a bunch of other guns. So the A74, if I had I would have noticed that. I'm sure if I picked one up this patch. But
It
interesting.
has no recoil at the
Oh
moment.
man.
See, the thing that pains me the most is I was a main of it in 8.0, and then it now has no recoil, so I can't justify myself maining it because I'm like, this gun's broken. This gun is saturated.
Yeah.
It also has one of the smallest blooms out of any assault rifle, so it's like, no, I'm not allowed. I am banned. But I think those are fixes that are easy to roll out for 9.1.
We're not
Adding
hopefully.
tad bits of recoil. Oh, 9.0. Yeah, getting ahead of myself.
Yeah.
Little touches of these guns actually need recoil,
Yeah.
and that should be nice, and we should be seeing a very nice 9.0.
Yeah. Well,
Hopefully UK servers also get a buff because
yeah.
those things are
Yeah, for sure.
sad right now.
Yeah.
Those things are. I feel so bad. 'Cause it's like,
Yeah, one of the other animation thing that they apparently played around with this time around, which had more of a psychological effect than an actual, I think, in-game effect, but it's moving,
the
yes,
movement.
as the male
So
archetype. And I
yes.
thought it was because at first it really makes you think that you're running slower, and I was convinced because you go to the female archetype and you get some weight on you, and it's mainly when you get weight, like as soon as you start getting weight down, the male archetype apparently changes his stance a bit as he's running, and it makes it look like he's running really sludgy, like really.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
Zane was actually in my stream the other day, yesterday, because he came through a raid that he didn't even he got raided from another stream to mine, and so all of a sudden Zane's on my stream, and and I was talking about that, and he said that it's not actually slower, it's just
Yeah.
it's the perception that it's slower because it looks like it's sludgy. And so I
Yeah.
went back to the male archetype and was doing some a little bit of like, this is just testing with no real I wasn't timing myself, which I would love to do.
Just checking your perception.
Just checking my perception, like looking more at the surroundings than at my guy. And yeah, it did seem like I was running at a normal speed. So even though I looked like I might have been running sluggy.
Yeah, I have confirmation from the community manager as well that the same thing is true, that it's they didn't change the speed and it's just the animation looks wonky.
Yeah.
The big thing as well, I think a lot of people that's entering a lot of people's mind regarding that is they changed weight again for a positive. Weight didn't exist in 8.0 basically. They dialed it back because a lot of people complained about it because in 7.0 it was really a big thing and it was kind of nice. I liked it.
Well, it's
but then they
realistic.
dialed
It adds that realism to the game.
But they dialed it back, but then they dialed it up, and the dial it up is so in 7.1 it was based off 7.0 it was based off kind of like how much stuff is in your inventory. You know, if you have like 5 rows of electronics, that means one thing. They've dialed it back up so that way if you have like a 13 weight gun, you ever see that? Whereas like, you know, the RPK is 15, I think.
Right.
That will actually now kind of matter. It mattered a little bit before, but now it really matters. And it's kind of nice, you know. I was running an RPK and a heavy.
Yeah, and it makes
and
sense.
That was
yeah.
Something that was nice. It was like, yes, thank you. I know you directly nerfed me because I'm an HMG main, but thank you.
Yeah.
I needed to be nerfed.
And I could have swore they mentioned in the notes, and I can't find it now, so maybe they didn't. I thought I saw somewhere that, you know, the whole thing about when you go into your shelter, it would always play the what's in the store. And I could have swore I saw somewhere that they said that they fixed that, but now I can't find it anywhere, so maybe they didn't say that. But I'm noticing it now. Every time I go in back, you know, come back from an encounter, it pops up with, this is what's in the store. Click, 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 and it goes away. And it's like, and I thought it was supposed to only happen once, like when you first come into the game, kind of thing. So I don't know.
Yeah. I haven't even heard that be reported in the longest time.
I don't know if it. Yeah.
Well, I have a message to write tonight.
I kind of remember seeing that in the changelog too, Doc, but I just did a quick search.
And I
don't
swear the first time I went through the changelog, and that was when I first, I think, logged into 8.1, I saw it, but now, I can't find it. So maybe they, it's not fixed. That. Let's take that out. Maybe, I don't know.
I'll report that one.
Like, honestly, like, I love the changelogs.
Yeah.
And it's like, the issue is, though, is like, some of these bugs or fixes, it's like, I'm like, this was actually a thing. Like some of it I didn't even know, right? And then like some of it's like, oh, awesome, they actually fixed this one.
Changelogs are beautiful now. I remember when changelogs used to have the data code. So like instead of saying you have right now, it's like, oh, SG1 got a damage multiplier from 1 to 2.
Yeah,
that's the correct words. It used to be like assault rifle number 13, which nobody had any clue what that was because the devs never defined it to us.
Yeah.
Had H value changed to 54. And I'm like, I understand everything of what you just said. I understood none of what you just said.
It's like a dump of like a Git log or something like that.
And it was horrible.
Oh my God.
It was horrible. And then people would go in my videos like, oh, Chris, why did you miss this feature? I'm sorry. The changelogs, that's not English. I don't understand what I just read. I can't. I'm sorry. No. I cannot decode that. I'm not a Caesar cipher. But I actually now do know every single one of the dev code numbers for the guns. I got a dev to give me that list because I was angry about it.
Yeah.
One thing I did like that got fixed was the fact that when you use a consumable, your gun is actually going to come back out automatically, and you don't have to like reselect it in the weapon wheel. That got me killed so many times, and I'm thrilled that is there. And it was like literally the first thing I saw, right? Because it's like first thing is like, oh, start of the encounter, it's like slap on some armor, and it's like, oh my god, my gun came out.
It's like someone dumped a whole lot of polish on the game, and that's
Yeah.
what this feels like. It's not.
It's like I've talked about it before. It's like just like with like the past dev streams and hearing like Johanny speak and stuff like that, and they're like going back to like refine things and like they're looking at the finer details. It's like it kind of like gives hope for the future of the game, right? That they're going to go back and fix all these bugs and like make the game better and everything. So
I would
it's
say
the
this
attention
is
to detail that I really love.
possibly the best time to be a Vigor player right now because 4.0, 4.0, the devs didn't have hardly any communication with us. 4.1, they deleted recoil because a couple of partners complained there was a bit too much recoil added with 4.1. So there is hope. There's a lot of people right now who are a little skeptical, like, oh, maybe this is it. This is the peak. This is where we stop. But no, 4.1 happened where they deleted recoil. I mean, I don't think we get lower than that. If the game was going to die, it was going to die back then. Because there was no recoil for 2 months, and I'm not joking, there was literally no recoil. It was horrible. I didn't even make an update video out of protest. Because it was bad. But the point is, it is definitely, I think I even put in my description of my video, a giant leap forward. In that we are now able to say, yes, this is a game. This isn't a collection of horribly occurring bugs one after another and then getting shot by a 2-shot rifle.
Yep.
It's now functioning. And it's something I could see myself actually suggesting to a friend. Where before it was like, maybe you want to wait a bit. Maybe you want to let them polish it a bit. Now it's like, they've done enough polish. Unless you're a UK player. In which case, please say they fixed UK servers this week.
I didn't even
So
realize
bad.
it wasn't fixed in UK servers. Oh, that's interesting. Okay.
UK has a lot wrong with it. Parker Hill is back, but it's back at 20 meters, which is horrible. So Parker Hill is the damage multiplier bug, where
Mm-hmm.
A gun is doing far less damage. Its damage drop-off is kicking in far worse than it should be.
Right.
It was reported in 8.0. It's kind of the thing that a lot of people hated about 8.0.
Yeah.
The Parker Hill bug made the H-bar a 6-shot to the head at 110 meters. That's insane. That's like so insane. It was like, what do you mean? What do you mean this gun is a 6-shot to the head? That's not allowed. It's still on UK servers, and it's now happening at 20 meters. We're looking at things like I got a report today of someone getting 6 body shots with an SVD, and it was 50 meters, and the guy's still alive. It's like, no, this is not real on the East Coast. This is not happening anywhere else. And I'm really thinking there might be another server outage, like we had with the Frankfurt outage, slightly before 8.1 went live. And that was in the EU. I think we're looking at another one, and we'll probably hear about it whenever the next dev stream is. Then probably be like, one of the UK servers is horribly malfunctioning. There was another thing. A player today told me there's been reports across the UK server of 14-minute queue times when that's just not real. Like other people are like, oh, I'm getting an encounter right now.
Yeah.
Like I'm fine. I'm in the UK. I'm in London. Nothing's going wrong. And another guy's like, I'm also in London. I've been in queue for 14 minutes. What is occurring?
Yeah.
So something is seriously wrong. Oh, actually, I have more than that. I have reports from my comment section of people going, I spent crowns and nothing happened. Like all sorts of stuff. So there's something clearly wrong with UK servers now. And as an East Coast player, I really can't fully give my 2 cents into it. I can't really be like, oh, guess today I shot a kid 20 times. Because I'm East Coast. But I wish our UK players well. Wish them well through these trying times.
Well, and it's unfortunate too, because they were, a lot of the partners in the UK, when they were doing their previews before 8.1 was released, they're playing on those development servers, and they were seeing like everything was better, right? They saw the Parker Hill was working the way it should.
Yeah.
And it looked great. Then to hear this, that great, so it was great in the development servers, but then for whatever reason it didn't get pushed out or whatever to the UK the UK servers. It's like, oh, geez, no.
I really think we're seeing a second situation of the Frankfurt servers where, I think it was like 3 weeks ago, the Frankfurt servers literally exploded in that situation. I don't think it literally exploded, but it was more so like something was very wrong with the EU servers that was affecting all EU players.
Right.
So we're either looking at, I don't know, I know UK's on a separate server from the rest of the East Coast. So not East Coast, Europe.
Yeah.
So it's probably an issue with their server in that something is physically wrong with the server. They probably are going to have to do some tech repair on that. But if it's tech repair, tech repair is easier to fix than coding stupidity, because coding stupidity can be very dumb and it can worm itself, especially with Vigor's code. The game's been out for 2 years. I can't imagine how much of a spaghetti it is of just piled insanities. So yeah, good luck to the UK players. I think if you guys just last a week, it'll be fixed. Max.
I'm sure it's something that they're rushing on because
really working on. Yeah.
That'd be a pretty major thing. All right. I think this is probably a good place for us to stop.
Yeah.
But that was a great talk. Thanks for coming out. We really appreciated you coming out and talking to us today.
No problem.
Yeah.
Being there.
And again, for those of you tuning in, please like, share, subscribe if you can. If you don't, it's okay, but we appreciate it. And if you're listening through the audios, or if you're looking where you can find us on all your favorite podcasting apps. We're on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Amazon podcasts.
Amazon podcasts.
Yeah. And you should be able to find us pretty much anywhere just to get the audio only version. So please, subscribe and reach out. Let us know what you thought. Did you have anything you wanted to talk about that we covered in this episode? Reach out in the comments. We'd love to hear from you.
And we're going to drop a link to Chris's channel as well.
Yes.
In the description.
Yeah, we'll throw a bunch of links in the description to Chris's channel. We should, if we can, get the link to the Vigor, the Discords, the various Discords we talked about.
Yeah.
We'll get those in the links as well. But as always, again, I've been Dr. Anton. With us has been...
And I'm DJ Spencer.
And?
Oh, and I've been Cristiferbeast.
All right. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in the Outlands. Have a good night.
Okay. Bye.
Lost your way again. You don't see your your chance and flame up your dream. I know you'll find your way. You must be calm anyway. Grab your chance and flame up your dream, flame up your